Hi everybody and welcome back to the Green Witch Homestead. So it has been a busy 2 weeks. We've got a lot of new things that have come into the homestead the last week or so. We've got our baby chicks are here. I'm getting all of my plants going. I've got most of my cold crops going and they're just about ready to go out into the high tunnel. I will be starting tomatoes and peppers this weekend. I also have something that I'm going to try, just kind of an idea I had, and I figured I would try it, see if it works, and then maybe I can help you out if you have an abundance of eggs that you can't get rid of. We've got plenty of eggs. Now, in here, these are the water glassed ones. Those ones are fine. They're good for anywhere from 8 to 16 months. People aren't buying eggs yet. There's no markets to sell them at yet, so I'm just kind of trying to pawn them off on my neighbors. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about having that many eggs, but as of right now, I need to do something with some of these eggs. So something that I saw was bagged scrambled eggs. Now I know that kind of sounds disgusting, but bear with me. So big production kitchens, when they do breakfasts, they get these bags of frozen scrambled eggs, uncooked. Basically, they just sous vide those eggs, which is cooking them in the bag in boiling water. Once the cartons are getting a little too old to be the freshest eggs on the market, then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack them, scramble them, and put them into a freezer bag that I can seal with a heat seal, and then freeze them. I don't know if this is going to work. It's going to be the older eggs, so these will probably just be treats for the dogs or for feeding some extra protein back to my chickens. But at least it'll be some way that I can use the eggs and store them that they're not going to go bad. I'm going to try it with a couple, just like a little small batch, and see how it goes. And if it works, then that's awesome. It's a new thing to do. Once the eggs are too old for human consumption, we can whip them up real quick and put them in the freezer bags and use them for animal treats. Also, some updates on the plants. So we've got like lettuces, kales, cabbages, broccolis, cauliflowers. They're all started. They're just about ready to go out into the high tunnel to start getting bigger and putting on better roots so they can go out into the gardens. One of the reasons that I plant them a little bit different, start some this week and then wait a couple weeks before I start some more, is because I do plant out a fairly large plot of land and there is not very many of us eating off of it. I want to have that sustainably over time at the market so that I can keep my customers happy. So I don't want all my cabbages and stuff to be ready to harvest at the same time. So that's a good thing to keep in mind when you're starting seeds. Even if you want to grow a lot, it's always better to do them in small little batches so that you're not overwhelmed come harvest time. It's always good to make sure that you have the space for things that you're planting because you don't want to get stuck into a situation where all of a sudden you have to upplot your tomatoes and you don't have anywhere to put them under a grow light and it's still too cold to put them outside. So these are always good things to keep in mind when you're starting a garden. Make sure that you know how far away it is, no matter how itching you are to get plants started. If you don't have the space to keep them inside under a good light source for long enough before it's safe for them to go out, you're just wasting your time, your money, and your effort. Now, as far as the is it too early, this is something that I am very adamant about teaching people. Everybody knows what a growing zone is, and you hear it all the time. It's on all the packages, it's on all the stores, at garden centers, all that fun stuff. Your growing zone, as far as a vegetable garden goes, it means absolutely nothing. You don't need to worry about your zone. What you need to know is when your last frost date is. That is going to tell you when it's safe to put your plants out. And then you need to know when your first frost date is. The reason those two dates are more important than anything else is they're going to tell you exactly how many days that you have in your area to grow vegetables. And that is going to tell you what you can grow in your garden. If you have a plant that needs 150 days to grow and you only have 100 days from your last frost to your first frost, then it's probably not a good idea to try and start that plant. So again, first frost date, last frost date. Those are the two important ones to know when you're dealing with growing food and annual flowers. This is my chick brooder, and it's actually tucked here under my computer desk. But basically it's like a tent material and it pops up. It has a bottom and it has a screened top, which zippers closed to keep anyone from flying out. It came with that heat plate, and then this is a heat plate that I had previously. And here's the chicks. I had to share this very rare sight of my two cats actually getting along. This is Jersey. He is my inside baby boy, and he's about 7 years old. And then this is Gigi, which I know you guys have all met before, and she is my indoor-outdoor barn cat. I just wanted to give you guys a few things. Some of the things that we're going to be doing. This here, our chicken Fort Knox. This is our breeding pen. We are done with breeding for the season. I know I didn't show much of it. I'm still kind of figuring out how I can have my setup in a way that I can film it. So, because I've been doing it for several years without filming, and so now it's tricky getting the camera in and out of there so you guys can actually see what's going on. But hopefully in the fall, when I do another round, I will be able to bring you guys along and show you all of the fun ins and outs of incubating and hatching chicks. But for now, we have those 45 chicks that are in the brooder inside, which will be graduating to outside in about 3-4 weeks. So we got to get this thing all cleaned up and tidied. We are almost done with the high tunnel for the season, and the high tunnel is almost done with us. So these front panels, they held up pretty well, and we do get some pretty strong winds this time of year. Next year, what we're going to do is we're going to build a little wooden frame that I can actually have in between the beds as a door and secure the plastic to that a little bit better so it's a little bit sturdier. But again, we are almost done with the plastic. So we will have the cabbages and stuff out here, but I'm going to be taking the sides off so they'll just have the over cover, which will help give them a little bit more heat on the cool days, but still give them airflow and stuff like that. We are getting to the point now where it is going to be warm enough that they can be outside just fine, but the added cover will just help keep them a little safer. I'm not going to open the high tunnel up because it is windy and I don't want to have to deal with the wind pulling in there. As of right now, I have it sealed nicely, so I'm not having to worry about that. But basically the only thing left growing in there right now is cilantro and our starter onions. So we're gonna have to dig those out and move them to the onion field, which we will be doing soon as well. I have this cage on here to protect them from the chickens because I let my birds free range in the winter time, and garlic is starting to come up, which is super exciting. This part behind me here is still kind of a mess. We haven't had enough dry weather that hasn't been super windy to be able to burn this down. We did get it started a little bit a couple weeks ago. As you can see, it's got a little scorching in it, but we had to put it out because the wind was picking up. So we haven't had a chance to really burn that down into the garden yet, so it's still just kind of sitting here. We're getting close to when I need to start prepping that for planting for the victory garden, so we may try and burn it one more time, but if we don't get a good day to safely burn it, we'll probably just drag it off and then burn it somewhere else later and add the ash as we go. I want to take you really quickly down to the market gardens and show you something that with the pigs and how we've been doing the rotation. Now, I have talked about rotating the pigs. I know a lot of different people do the rotational grazing with your pigs and moving them around inside their enclosure. We are going to be building a larger enclosure and just letting them free range through that space. We haven't decided if we're going to split it up with the electric fencing and inside the fence. It's kind of still a work in progress, but we do know we're doing the exterior fence. But one of the things that we've been doing with the pigs is putting them on a spot and leaving them a little bit longer than normal so that they're completely killing everything in that spot. So the biggest problem we've had with our field pasture on this property is these weeds. This has been a school property. It was done with fill. It's been left to go fallow and just do its own thing for close to 50 years. So there's a lot of weeds and overgrowth and really poor soil. So we can't get a lot to grow on here, and we were having a hard time fighting the weeds. So that's why we got into the pigs. So as you remember, we've had the pigs in several different spots back here. You've heard a lot of different people talk about rotational grazing with the pigs and moving them around. Now, the main thing with that is you don't want to leave them on one spot for too long because they will kill everything in that spot and you'll lose your grazing. But that was a benefit to us because, like those weeds up there, we had them all over the field. And as you can see now, we have bare earth that we're working with here. You could just take a tractor and scrape all those weeds off and start like that. Do that and you're losing a lot of soil. we work with the pigs, and they're getting all that plant matter out. They're eating all the seeds and all the roots of the nasty stuff that's been in there for years, and they're leaving back manure and all this nice things that's going to help turn this soil into a more fertile space. So we got that spot clean. We were able to put this whole new market garden bed in, and we got another spot back there that they've just finished cleaning out, and now we've moved them over here, and we're going to be moving them along this fence line and then back into the trees so that we can have a nice flat surface to work with. We're going to start laying down some fodder seeds so that we can get some nice fescue, winter wheat, and other things that's a good grazing field growing up behind them. So we put the pigs on a spot. We have them on there until they pretty much kill anything that's in that spot, and that's normally not what you want to do. You want to move them before they kill everything, but because we don't want the plants and things that are growing in those spots, we're letting them kill everything. So we just moved them over here, and they have access to the little dugout pond. For the first time ever, they have a pond. So we just put them on it, and they seem to like it. We're going to see what they look like in a couple days. It should be kind of hilarious. Two things with this is they're going to have access to water. We have had that pond for about 3 years, and we've tested it, and it's never run completely dry. It gets pretty low in the summertime, but it doesn't go dry. So they should have a water source now that's going to hold them. We don't have to haul water down. And the other thing with them is they're going to kind of pack the bank in on that to kind of make it hold water even better. And there they are, being pigs. So this one here is Truffles. That's Vivian over there. The 3 other ones are Vivian's piglets from this last fall. They were born in August, so we're going on about 6 months now, I think. And they're going to be butchered out at the end of this year. So that'll be our first meat pigs with the Mangalitsa's. As you can see, this is that prep time. There's not a lot of finished products going on. It's mostly just getting everything ready, getting all the prep stages going so that once summer is in full swing, there's not so much work that we have to do. But that's pretty much what we've got going on here in the homestead, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I do try and answer them as best as possible. Don't forget to click the little bell to be notified every time that we upload, and follow along. We are gearing up to start doing weekly videos on the Victory Garden now that it is that time of year. And remember, guys, get out there and get your hands dirty.